If you've ever felt stuck in the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle, you're not alone. We see it every day. People working tirelessly, struggling to make ends meet, wondering why the rich seem to just keep getting richer. But what if I told you that everything we were taught about money was wrong? That the traditional path of going to school, getting a good job and saving diligently isn't the only way, or even the best way, to achieve financial freedom? This video is about breaking free from those limiting beliefs. It's about understanding the real rules of money, the ones they don't teach you in school. We're gonna dive deep into the lessons I learned from Robert Kiyosaki's groundbreaking book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and how those lessons completely transformed my financial life. This isn't just about getting rich quick, it's about changing your mindset, taking control of your finances, and building a life of true wealth and abundance. We're talking about the kind of wealth that provides you with options, security, and the freedom to pursue your passions. So, are you ready to challenge everything you thought you knew about money? Let's get started. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad. Poor Dad isn't just a financial book, it's a story about two contrasting perspectives on wealth. Kiyosaki grew up with two father figures, his biological dad, who represented the traditional path to success, and his best friend's father, who embodied a completely different approach to money. Kiyosaki's biological father, the poor dad, was a highly educated man with a secure government job. He worked hard, believed in saving money, and stressed the importance of a good education. He represented the conventional wisdom most of us are taught about money. Then there was the rich dad, his best friend's father. This man was a high school dropout who built a business empire from scratch. He challenged the traditional notions of work, money, and security. He saw opportunities where others saw risks, and he taught Kiyosaki to think differently about wealth. The book highlights the stark differences in their mindsets. Poor Dad believed in working for money, while Rich Dad believed in making money work for him. Poor Dad focused on job security, while Rich Dad emphasized financial literacy and building assets. These contrasting viewpoints form the core of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's not about which dad was right or wrong, it's about understanding the fundamental differences in their approaches to money. The book forces us to question our own beliefs about wealth and to consider alternative paths to financial success. It's important to remember that these dads represent archetypes, two different ways of thinking about money. We all have a little bit of poor dad and rich dad in us. The key is to identify which mindset is holding us back, and to actively cultivate the rich dad mentality. Rich Dad. Poor Dad is a powerful reminder that our financial destiny is not predetermined. We have the power to choose our path. By understanding the lessons Kiyosaki learned from his two dads, we can begin to rewrite our own financial stories. This is probably the most impactful lesson from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It completely flipped the script on how I viewed work and wealth. Growing up, I was always told to study hard, get a good job, and work my way up the corporate ladder. But Rich Dad challenged that notion. He argued that the wealthy don't trade their time for money, they create assets that generate income, even while they sleep. Think about it. When you work for a paycheck, you're essentially trading your hours for a fixed amount of money. You're limited by how much you can earn based on the hours you put in. But the rich understand that true wealth comes from owning assets, things that put money in your pocket. What kind of assets are we talking about? It could be a business that generates profits, rental properties that bring in passive income, stocks that pay dividends, or intellectual property that creates royalties. The key is to build a portfolio of income-generating assets that work for you, even when you're not actively working. This doesn't mean you have to quit your job tomorrow and become an entrepreneur. It's about shifting your mindset from being a consumer to becoming an owner. Start small. Maybe it's investing in a low-cost index fund, starting a side hustle, or buying a small rental property. The point is to start generating income from sources outside of your job. This is how you break free from the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle and start building real wealth. Remember, the goal is to have your money work harder than you do.
Breaking news.
Now, this isn't about discrediting traditional education. I'm a big believer in getting a good education. But when it comes to money, our school system often falls short. We're taught algebra and history, but how many of us were taught how to manage our finances, invest our money, or understand how taxes work? Rich Dad emphasized the importance of financial literacy, understanding how money works, how to make it work for you, and how to protect it. He believed that this type of education was crucial for building wealth and achieving financial freedom. The good news is, we live in an age where financial education is more accessible than ever. There are countless books, podcasts, online courses, and even YouTube channels dedicated to teaching you everything you need to know about personal finance. Take advantage of these resources. Start by learning the basics of budgeting, saving, and investing. Then, dive deeper into topics like real estate, stock market investing, or starting a business. The more you learn about money, the more empowered you'll be to make smart financial decisions. Remember, financial literacy is an ongoing journey, not a destination. The world of finance is constantly changing, so it's important to stay curious, keep learning, and adapt your strategies as needed. Chapter 4, Lesson number 3, Assets versus Liabilities. This is where things start to get really interesting. Rich Dad had a very different definition of assets and liabilities than what most people are taught. He didn't just look at what you owned, he focused on whether those possessions were putting money in your pocket or taking money out. Most people consider their house their biggest asset. But Rich Dad would argue that unless your house is generating income for you, like a rental property, it's actually a liability. Why? Because it costs you money every month in mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. The same goes for cars, expensive clothes, gadgets, or anything else that doesn't generate income. These are all liabilities because they drain your cash flow. True assets, according to Rich Dad, are things that put money in your pocket. These could be businesses, a business that generates profits, real estate rental properties that provide passive income, stocks, dividend-paying stocks or appreciating shares in companies, intellectual property, books, music, patents, or online courses that create royalties. The goal is to build a portfolio of income-generating assets that outweigh your liabilities. This is how you create positive cash flow and build lasting wealth. Chapter 5, Lesson number 4, The Importance of Cash Flow. Rich Dad, Poor Dad emphasizes that it's not just about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep and where that money is going. You could be earning a high income, but if you're spending it all on liabilities and expenses, you're not building wealth, you're just running in place. Rich Dad taught Kiyosaki to focus on cash flow, the movement of money in and out of your wallet. He stressed the importance of creating a positive cash flow, where your income from assets exceeds your expenses. This is where budgeting becomes crucial. You need to understand where your money is going each month, and identify areas where you can cut back on unnecessary expenses. The goal is to free up as much cash flow as possible so you can reinvest it in income-generating assets. Remember, it's not about depriving yourself, it's about being mindful of your spending and making sure your money is working hard for you. By tracking your cash flow and making strategic financial decisions, you can create a solid foundation for long-term wealth. Chapter 6, Lesson number 5, Fear versus Risk. One of the biggest takeaways from Rich Dad, Poor Dad is that fear plays a significant role in our financial lives. Poor Dad, driven by fear, preached the importance of job security and avoiding risks. Rich Dad, on the other hand, embraced calculated risks as a path to wealth creation. Think about it. The fear of losing money prevents many people from investing. The fear of failure keeps them stuck in unfulfilling jobs. The fear of the unknown stops them from pursuing their entrepreneurial dreams. Rich Dad didn't deny the existence of risk, he taught Kiyosaki to manage it. He believed that true financial freedom came from understanding your risk tolerance, doing your due diligence, and making informed decisions. This doesn't mean you should go all in on risky investments, it's about being strategic. Educate yourself, seek advice from mentors or financial advisors, and start small. As you gain experience and confidence, you can gradually increase your risk tolerance. Remember, the biggest risk is often not taking any risks at all. By playing it too safe, you might miss out on opportunities for growth and financial freedom. Chapter 7, Call to Action. So, here's the deal. Rich Dad. Poor Dad isn't just a book, it's a call to action. It's a challenge to examine your own beliefs about money, to question the traditional path, and to start creating your own path to financial freedom. The lessons we've discussed today are just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to explore in the book, and I highly encourage you to pick up a copy and dive deeper. But knowledge without action is useless. Don't just consume this information, apply it. Start by identifying one area of your finances that you want to improve. Maybe it's creating a budget, starting an investment account, or exploring a side hustle. Remember, financial freedom is a journey, not a destination. It's about making conscious choices, taking calculated risks, and consistently working towards your goals. The choice is yours. You can keep trading your time for money, or you can start building assets that generate income and work for you. The choice is yours. Keep working for money, or learn to make money work for you. Start today, read books, invest, and take control of your financial future. Look, I get it. Changing your mindset about money can be tough. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind and feel like you're stuck in a rut. But trust me, financial freedom is within your reach. It all starts with making a decision. A decision to take control of your finances, to educate yourself, and to start building a life of abundance. Remember, the richest people in the world aren't always the smartest. They're often the ones who took action and never gave up on their dreams. So what are you waiting for? Start small, stay consistent, and never stop learning. The world of financial freedom awaits.